Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Unexpected Entrepreneur Podcast. As I mentioned at the end of last week's episode, this week we're going to be talking all about creating portfolio posts, which is one of our favorite types of posts to recommend to creatives, photographers, literally anybody that's blogging. This is also another solo episode, so this is KP talking. Jesse will most likely be back with our episodes next week. So, before we get started, of course, if you've been listening to this season at all, you know at every single beginning of the episode, we always mention our brand new offer. It is called Back Pocket Blogger. And if you have been interested in all about getting into the blogging game with your business, this is basically the perfect offer for you. So Back Pocket Blogger is our monthly blogging offer. It is a 6-month retainer service where you can literally fill out a form, like literally a very simple form. Let us know what blog post you want us to write. Within 72 hours, we'll send it over to you. You just review it, and then within another 72 hours, we'll have it published. So it's a very fast turnaround so that you're able to really stay on top of all of your portfolio work. So, if you're a photographer and let's say you photograph a wedding one weekend, you can literally have a blog post up about that wedding within like the next week and a half, which is just so cool. You can learn more about this offer down in the description below. Since it is a 6-month offer, you get those 12 blog posts over the course of the 6 months with 2 per month, and the investment is $3,000 pay in full, or there is a $500 a month payment plan option. So let's go ahead and dive into the episode. So when it comes to blogging, in our opinion, portfolio posts are literally essential, and that's because they give you the opportunity to basically talk about your own work. And in addition to that, you can literally start to get organic traffic while doing that. So it's literally the perfect win-win, and it will really help you to attract potential clients, especially as a photographer. So when it comes to photographers, we always say that if you don't really want to invest in like a keyword research tool or anything, and you're just dabbling with blogging, the best place to start is, especially if you're a wedding photographer, just thinking about the different venues that you photographed at and just add the word wedding to the end of the venue. So I can't think of any venue name off the top of my head now that I'm like trying to think of one, but you would literally take the venue name and then write wedding at the end and then just target that keyword throughout your whole blog post. And that will allow you to, 1, target people who are specifically looking to have a wedding at that venue. And 2, it's going to allow you to show off your work and really position yourself as someone who already knows the venue pretty well, because someone's going to be a lot more likely to reach out to you when they're like, oh, this photographer has already photographed a wedding here. They're going to know all the ins and outs. They're going to know all the cool spots to go and get, couples portraits and everything like that. So it's really a win-win. Again, it's also another way to really help you build credibility and showcase your expertise. And it's also going to help differentiate yourself from other photographers, because instead of just showing your portfolio work in a portfolio on your site or, just showing it off on your Instagram or your Pinterest, you're actually going to have stories that kind of go along with it in your blog. And again, it's just going to enhance your SEO overall. So now you're probably wondering, okay, but what are the right projects for me to actually talk about in these portfolio posts? So when it comes to choosing portfolio-worthy projects to write blog posts about, we always say to start with the ones that, 1, you've done most recently that you're most excited to try to show off. And 2, think about the different venues or, photo sessions that you've done that you love the most, and really just start there. You can also try to look at your Instagram and see if you even have specific chunks of captions that you can try to elongate on to then write a portfolio post to begin with, just to save yourself quite a bit of time. From there, you're also going to want to try to think about, what direction your business is moving. So if you had a venue that you absolutely loved photographing at, you'll want to try to write blog posts about that specific venue, because it will line up with where your business is going and really work to attract your ideal client and audience. One thing to keep in mind when writing these types of articles is to remember, again, that your blog posts are not about you. And I know this is one of the hardest things to work on. Trust me, I struggled with it for a long time when I first started blogging. I've been blogging since 2012, and I used to literally write book reviews. So trust me when I say I was really trying to stuff all my opinions and thoughts in there. And I very quickly realized that, with a lot of blog posts, people are, I don't want to say selfish, but they are a little selfish in the sense that they want to more so know, the information that they're searching for. So if they're searching for wedding information about a specific venue, they're not going to want to hear all about, Sally and Sue, who is in the photos and whose wedding day it is. That's not to say that you can't include a, brief paragraph or 2 about the actual couple and everything like that. But throughout the post, you're really going to want to focus more on the features of the venue. So you can talk about the amenities, talk about the different getting ready areas, the different ceremony areas, anything that's included, anything like that. So that's kind of like what we recommend throughout the post. And be sure to always try to answer the search query a little bit higher up in the post. That means if you are going to talk about the couple, it's better to put that down at the bottom. And then, of course, if you do have any client testimonials or feedback, be sure to put that in the post too. We like to kind of put that a little bit further down in the article, usually down in the conclusion, just to make sure that we can include that somewhere. And another good thing too is to really make sure, especially with like any venue or session posts, that you're talking about anything that someone might not be able to find on Google. So anything that you might have learned while you were at the venue. That is something that is really going to help you stand out from other people that are ranking. And again, it's really going to help you showcase your expertise. From there, of course, you're going to want to be able to pick your favorite photos from that day. And when I say pick your favorite photos, I really mean it because, again, you don't want to have like a million photos that someone's going to have to scroll through, especially on mobile, because so many people are doing research on their phones these days. So really choose just the best images to feature. And, that's to say too, like, let's say if you have a photo of the, I don't know, like getting ready suite or something, you don't need to put a million photos of that. You don't need to put like, a million photos of different angles of that same getting ready suite. You can really still like show your point and show off your work with just one photo of that getting ready suite. So that's just something to keep in mind. We always like to say that your post should be 90% text and 10% images. And we honestly mean that because, again, people really want to see the information more than they're going to want to see your work. If they want to see your work or see more of your work, they're going to go over to Instagram or your portfolio. So that's just something to keep in mind, even though these are technically portfolio-based posts. And then, of course, too, you can use, if you're on WordPress especially, there are like gallery blocks that you can implement. So what we'll usually do for our clients is we'll always do, like one horizontal post or one horizontal image per heading, And then if there are any verticals, just because sometimes verticals look like they take up a lot of space on desktop especially, we'll usually do one of like the gallery sections and we'll add like, 2 verticals next to each other or 3 verticals next to each other, just to kind of keep things all looking nice and, laid out on the post. And again, you'll really want to break up your different photos through your text. So don't put like, a million photos at the bottom or something, because we see that a lot. And then, as always, just make sure that you're crafting a really captivating title, especially for venue posts, because, when you're ranking for a venue keyword, it's very likely that the venue is probably going to be ranked, first, if not first, very high up on the page. So you want to have a really unique title that really shows like your own perspective of the venue, so that if someone is happening to scroll like a little bit further down on the page, they are going to be intrigued to actually click on your title. And again, be sure to always use like relevant keywords throughout, use alt text for your images, meta descriptions, all the basics. We do go over all of our recommendations for uploading your posts and writing your posts with SEO in our course, Blogging for Business, which you can also learn about more in the description. Then when it comes to portfolio posts, one of the things we're always asked that I really wanted to address in this episode is how long should the post be? And when I tell people how long we recommend posts to be, I know that they're like, oh my gosh, that's kind of long. But I also come from a travel blogging background. In travel, most articles are like 3,500 words to 5,000 words. Like they're a lot. So that's why I always recommend, and this is what I've seen work best for our own clients, between 1,200 and 1,500 words. I'd more so lean toward 1,500, but of course, like if you don't have a whole lot to say, don't force yourself to write a whole lot of fluff, because people are going to see that and probably leave your page pretty quickly. But I'd say at least 1,000 words. When it comes to portfolio posts, especially, it's usually okay to not write like as much, because I understand you're really just like featuring, the venue or the session. So you might not necessarily have as much to say, but if you can try to push 1,000 words, that would be perfect. And then, of course, make sure you break up all of your paragraphs with headings and subheadings. This is just going to help with skimmability, especially with paragraphs. We always recommend that your paragraphs are no more than 2 to 3 sentences. Just, again, trying to think mobile first, because something that's, 5 sentences in a paragraph on desktop is going to look like taking up your entire phone screen if you're on mobile. And then when it comes to promoting your post after you publish it, one of the best things about portfolio posts is that if you did do it on a specific session or, a specific wedding day, you can literally then use it to try to get even like more eyes on your work by sending it to the people that you featured in the post. So let's say you did a wedding venue one, you can share it literally with that couple, send it to that couple. You can also send it to, anyone else that was involved in that day. So any other vendors that like were involved in the wedding day, you could send it to them so that they can also see, some of the work from that day. And then in addition, you can also share it with the actual venue. You can share the post on social media platforms, everything like that. So there's like a lot of different possibilities when it comes to that. And then you never know, someone else might share it too because you've then shared it with them. And that is pretty much all of the basics of portfolio posts for blogging. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, if you really want to stay on top of your portfolio work when it comes to blogging, the Back Pocket Blogger offer might be absolutely perfect for you. So with Back Pocket Blogger, again, like if you shoot a wedding or, you have a really cool session, you can that day, like once you have your highlights ready or whatever from your session, you can submit a post request form with Back Pocket Blogger and we can write it within 72 business hours and you can pretty much have it published, within a week, depending on how fast your feedback is, which is really, really cool. So it's a great way for you to, again, get more eyes on your work because you can share it with all the people that were involved. And also for you to actually stay on top of, always promoting yourself and promoting your most recent work. Plus, will also help you boost your SEO. So it's just like a win-win all around. We are going to be back next Wednesday, and let me try to see what next episode is on. We're going to be talking all about educational content. So it'll be similar to this week's episode, but we're going to talk about why we love and recommend educational posts and just some things to actually know about those. These are those more like BuzzFeed style-esque posts, and they also always do really, really well in addition to portfolio posts. So we'll see you then, and we'll also be back on Monday. Jesse will be back doing a bonus episode featuring one of our past clients who will be talking all about blogging. So we'll catch you then.